So what we've been walking through up to this point is what we call our hog range. And so one of the biggest things that we do on our farm is raising pigs. And this is a pig's natural type of environment that they enjoy living in. So there's 20 or so of them in this group, and they move through this hog range. And so they just came out of a spot back there today. They'll be in this paddock here for about a week, and then they'll move on to a spot down here, and then they'll come across the road, start coming back up this way. And what we're trying to do is, with our management, figure out a way that a pig can do as many things as a pig likes to do, but he's not turning one particular spot into a moonscape. A day or two before we'll move them, we'll come in the paddock, overseed it with some kind of cover crop, and the pigs are trying to eat it. So they're going to go around, nose those seeds into the ground. We're now using that to plant what we call a high value forage, which is something that has a lot of sugar in it for the cows to eat. So these big girls, a lot of them have already had their piglets. There's actually about 150 piglets out here with these sows. Most of them are up over in the old paddocks, but they haven't quite figured out that mom moved next door yet, but they'll figure it out tonight. They'll stay on the farm as long as they keep producing, so 5-6 years sometimes. Okay. I've heard of people who have had a sow go 10 or 12 years, but that's more like a 1 or 2 thing where they have a lot of individual attention per animal. Do you have a question? You always have lots of questions, don't you? So kind of some of the bigger things that we've found really neat about when we take any particular animal, so we'll talk about pigs because we're here, and we start to look at how does that animal behave in a natural setting, its wild cousins, and then we adapt those principles into how we will manage the animal here on the farm. A lot of things that are commonly a problem in an industrial setting with rearing these animals it's not an issue for us. You don't see a corn farmer out trying to steal our lease for this kind of ground to plant corn in. Now, here's what's amazing about this is the gentleman who owns this farm, because we lease this farm, when he was a boy, which would be 65 years ago, this was in tillage. They were actually growing crops on this ground up through here, and he told me the reason they had to stop doing it is because there was too much bedrock. And what was happening was every time when you get into these kind of terraced hills, every time you run a plow over it and it rains, dirt's washing away. So you can see the bedrock just flowing through the sides of these hills that was exposed by 100 years of mechanical tillage. It's to the point where he told me they had to stop using tractors on it and start using the horses again, because the horses were the only thing that could get up through here. So it's amazing to see how quickly we as farmers especially can have an impact for the positive or the negative on the landscape depending on how we manage it. And that it's really important to consider that kind of stuff, that even though we're standing here and it looks like a woods, 70 years ago this was in tillage. 200 years ago, if we were standing here, we'd be standing 30 inches higher. The average topsoil loss in the Shenandoah Valley is 30 inches from 1750 through now, just because of the extensive tillage that was done to produce grains and the poor soil management practices. All of that soil is washed away and is now sitting down in the Chesapeake Bay. So little sidetrack there, but it is neat to see how landscapes change over time. Let it sit down. Alright, so inside here will be a feeder. So again, these are not an herbivore, so they can't eat just grass. And then they're always moving one spot forward, so we'll just set the feeder down there so it's ready to put back in. then it's just grabbing the pen. Where's my under 10? Who wants to try pulling it?
You want to see it?
All right, everybody back up.
Forward.
Back up.
Back up, Isaac. Whew. This is why out here we call it farm fit, not CrossFit. What is the most sustainable meat to eat? And, you know, you'll have all these different articles. For me, it's very easy to quantify that which is most sustainable is that which requires the fewest steps from sunlight to human digestible protein. So if you think about, say, take a chicken, for example, you'd have to have the chicken first, then you have to have all these grains grown somewhere else, dried, ground, mixed, blended, delivered, and then fed to the chicken. And there's a lot of steps before the chicken's ready to go onto the plate. Even with a pig, you have your pig from somewhere, you have to have grains coming from somewhere else that are then transported, ground, fed to the pig before you can have bacon and pork chops. By managing cows properly, we can actually capture carbon out of the atmosphere back into the ground. So we can do a lot of good with how we manage cows if we are sticking to a couple principles. And so the main one is that all of their food intake is coming from forage. Up here, we just wanted to say a couple words before we unleash all you guys on the food. Thank you so much for coming out today to help us celebrate 10 years of being here on the farm. And 10 years goes by pretty fast. It seems like it was just a couple days ago that we were moving back up here from South Carolina and getting things going. The first place that we operated on was actually next door, right over there. And we got our first pigs in a month or two after getting back up here. And here we are all of a sudden 10 years later. We would not be here without people like you supporting us and buying from us and continuing to buy from us and continuing to buy from us. So we're doing something that's very unusual in the American food system right now, and that's reestablishing the connection between eaters and producers. Most food that you eat, you have no idea where it came from. Right now, you can buy something with a product with the USA label on it, and it came from Argentina, came from New Zealand, England, somewhere else. Nothing against food from those countries, but there's a growing movement of folks who are wanting to know where the food is coming from, to have that connection back to a farm that they're supporting directly, so that they know that the food dollars are being directed in a way that they support. For something that we spend money on 3 times a day, that's being used in a way to restore our lands, to restore communities, instead of continuing to lead to decline. And so both of us play a role in that. You guys as eaters, you're the most important thing. If you guys were not eating our food and supporting us, we would not have the opportunity to do what we're doing. And so every day we're thankful for that support. Even if it's 100 degrees and we're sweating and a thunderstorm is rolling in, and I personally am like a cat. I do not like to be rained upon. And I got rained on yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. So I'm very thankful for you. I know Laura had a couple things she wanted to say, and we'll give a couple instructions about eating, but I don't want to linger too long. I don't know how long I can keep you guys away from all this delicious food. So. Hey everybody, we thank you so much for supporting us for 10 years. We've been celebrating today with a bunch of people who came out to the farm, had a tour, had a great dinner here in the barn, and we're just blown away by the love and support from you guys and looking forward to what the future brings. So we just wanted to say thank you for supporting us here at J&L Green Farm. We woke up one morning and here we are 10 years later. So we're still together, still working together, still farming together, doing life together.
Yeah.
3 kids.
Yeah.
Gonna do it for another 10 years?
Possibly so.
Possibly.
Yeah.
We'll be here. Thank you.
That was really bad.
Take 2.